Let's start today's practice in a seated position. We're going to do our usual Thursday Shibashi Qigong practice, the 18 forms. And I thought we might start just with a short meditation. And today's Shibashi practice, we might break down some of the forms again, just slow it down a little bit and just make sure we've got all the individual bits down before we put it all together. So let's just start comfortable seated position. Take as much time as you need. You might rest against the wall. You might be sitting in a chair. Main thing is just to be able to be still without whatever discomfort we might have in the body distracting us too much. So let's just start by bringing attention to our sit bones. Ideally, they're higher than the knees. So our spine can be long and straight. We might bring our elbows closer to the ribs, shoulders heavy, neck long. Once you've found that comfortable seated position, we'll just have some moments in silence. In Zen Buddhism, they have a thing called a koan. A koan is like a kind of riddle that doesn't have an answer, but it provokes thought. You might know, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Or if a tree falls in a forest and no one is there, does it make a sound? You know, things like this. And in regards to meditation, there's a famous one which pretty much goes something like, the student who wants to know how to meditate goes to the master and says, "Master, I need to know what to think about when I'm meditating. Should I think about how to meditate or should I think about nothing? What's the answer? Please tell me the answer. I need to know what to think about." And then the master kind of strokes his chin, says nothing for a long time, and then finally says the answer. And the answer is this: I do not know. I've never thought about it. So as you sit in stillness, you might just like to picture yourself just like you're sitting by a river and you're watching any thoughts that come into your mind float by. So just imagine that river, the sun is shining down, the water is flowing, and we're just sitting and we're watching any thoughts that come up. And usually when we have thoughts, we feel like we have to analyze them, maybe reject them, maybe accept them. But today you might just feel like you're watching those thoughts come in and then leave your consciousness, without trying to grasp hold of them, without trying to understand their meaning or make a plan to do with the thought. You just let the thought be there and then let it leave. And every emotion is just like a thought, also comes in and then leaves us. Whether we feel happy or sad, excited or bored, any feeling doesn't stay with us too long. So if we just sit by our river, watch whatever the situation is, good or bad, right or wrong, we can just allow it to pass. Not accepting, not rejecting, not analyzing. Let's take one more breath here. Side out. Feel that sense of emptiness and openness. And let's take our hands down by the side, as we always do, lifting up, welcoming in new energy, new learning. And then letting go anything we don't need. Keep going in your own breath pattern. Let's roll our shoulders. Maybe a big shrug right up to the ears. Let's take the hands behind and just lean back into the palms and open through the chest. And then we'll walk the hands forward, keeping the sit bones heavy. Just let the shoulders drop down. We'll walk the hands a little over to the right-hand side, reaching up. And then we'll meet back in the center and walk the hands a little to the left-hand side. Come back to the middle and then press yourself up. Take your time. We're going to drop our right ear to the right shoulder, keeping that shoulder heavy. Roll the chin into the chest, come up halfway. And then same again, just small half circles. Meeting back in the center. Let's take left ear to the left shoulder. Shoulder stays heavy. Roll the chin down. And then we'll come back up to sit tall as we can. We'll extend our right arm out. Turn the palm up. Take a breath in as we look to that palm. And as we sigh out, we'll turn our chin to the other shoulder and roll our hand all the way over. Inhale, roll it back up, looking back towards the hand. And sigh out as we let go. So keep rolling in your own rhythm. One more time. hand comes down and we'll come straight to the other side. Left hand, open it up. Take a big breath in. Exhale, turn away. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. And we'll meet back, hands can come down. Let's come up to a standing position now. Excellent. Let's take a moment to just press down through the feet. You might find each toe, roll back to the heel. Maybe roll onto the outer arch of the feet or into the inner arch. Just allow upper body to be soft, and just as the lower body is pressing down into the ground, our upper body is equally or oppositely light, swaying open, just allowing any experience to come in. You might give yourselves just like the tree. Trunk is heavy and still. Upper body, leaves, branches are swaying with the wind. Let's draw our loose elbows and fists together. Drop the chin to the chest. Big breath in. And we'll exhale to open out. Inhale, curl everything in. Exhale, let it go. You might tuck your tailbone this time right under. And lift the chin up as you open out. One more time. Let's roll our wrists. You might like to roll one ankle at the same time. Just lift the heel up. You can keep the toes on the ground if you need it for balance. Change direction. Let's switch to the other side. And we'll bring both of our legs together, knees together. And just cupping the knees, small circles. Change direction if you haven't already. Let's bring our feet back under the hips and just take hands to the side of the body and just slowly rolling. Just like the bear coming out of hibernation. Might like to come back the other direction. Keeping the hands on the hips. Let's take one leg in front of the other and just lift the back heel, sink down. So you might come down as low as this leg being horizontal, maybe not. Just hold it there for a moment and then step back together and switch sides. Take your time here. And let's do a couple more each side. Make sure you're not putting any pressure on that front knee. It should be stacked over the ankle. And we'll come back to stand. Let's take one arm up, one arm down, gently pulsing behind the body. And we'll switch. Switch again. And one last time. And we'll take both shoulders back towards each other, elbows behind, and then wrap them around the body. One more time. And shake it out. All right, so today we'll do a bit of work on different forms in our Shibashi sequence. Let's start with the very first form, the rise and fall, it's often called. So we want our feet to be heavy into the mat. So knees might be slightly bent, our tailbone might be tucked or go side on. So it's not really like a usual standing shape. You want chest to be open, solar plexus to be rising, tailbone tucked under a little, arms to be heavy. So just as you orientate in your own body, just notice if you can see your toes, if your weight is in the heel of your body. Quite often we might be rolling forward, it might be tricky to see the toes. Arms should be heavy, just like you're carrying heavy shopping bags. Just take a moment to scan through the body. Notice how you feel right now. Can you press through each toe, through the ball of the foot, through the heel? Feel that strong, heavy connection with the ground. And as you probably know by now, we're looking for this sense of alertness without being tense, and relaxation without being sleepy or dull. So you might like to just look out the corner of your eyes. What can you notice? What can you notice in the periphery of your vision? Can you notice how your skin feels, the air on your skin, the atmosphere around you, maybe sounds, whatever it might be. And then when you're ready, just take your attention down to your hands. Now, we're just going to slowly take a breath in as we lift the arms up. And then just when they get to shoulder height, take them back down. Now, you can feel like your elbows and your wrists guide the movement, but we're not using floppy wrists. We're using arms all connected, strong, shoulders heavy, and then we sigh out. Now we might just stop there for a moment and just listen to the rhythm of our breath. So we use the abdominal breath in all of Qigong. So abdominal means diaphragm is opening and breath is coming from this part of the body, not the chest, not the neck. So we want that breath to come in through the nose and for the belly to expand, and then we sigh out. You can breathe out through the nose as well if you like. So that breath is coming from the mid part of the body. This just allows the breath to come in and really all that oxygen to make it through to all the organs that are hungry for it. So often we breathe shallowly just in our neck or our chest. Breath comes in and goes out. The oxygen never gets through, but we want that rich oxygenated blood. So let's try again. Let's just focus on our belly first. Feel the breath come in and out. And then the next time it comes in, we raise our arms with it. So the arm movement just becomes an expression of the breath. We inhale, lift up, and then we sigh out and let it go. So just keep going in your own time. Listening to your breath. Letting go. Just a sense of creating space between each breath. Creating room for whatever is next, whatever's coming. You might just go back to that feeling of sitting by the river, allowing any thoughts, any busyness in the mind just to float by without needing to grasp onto it or cling to it. Just allowing this movement to just be an expression of the breath, And just like every thought, every emotion, every experience we have, breath comes and goes. Whenever we hold on to something too strongly, we might have that feeling of suffocation, feeling of heaviness. When we allow things to come and go, this is when we allow just that usual life force of change and transformation, transience, impermanence. Everything is always moving. Nothing is static. Quite often when you see people do this form of Qigong, their arms are very like they're painting the roof like Karate Kid or whatever. But we want the wrists and the hands just to be an extension of the arm. So there might be an extent to which they move a little, but you want that engagement right along. So the body is just moving as one with the arms. When I first did a Qigong class and we did this form, I was like, zombie arms, got it. Easy, easiest thing ever. I know how to do that one. And then I was like, why can't they teach us something more complicated than just raising the arms and putting them down? But of course, all the hardest things for us to grasp, hardest things to really transform our life are always the simplest, always the easiest, because it's our I already know that mind that gets in the way. So if your I already know that mind is saying, oh, I'm so bored of lifting my arms, then just see if you can move towards your beginner's mind, towards your, what can I learn from this? And you might be learning to regulate your nervous system. You might be learning to activate your vagus nerve, this kind of rest and digest heal mode, where we teach our body to move and achieve things and work with our breath without drawing stress and tension into the body. So often we stimulate that part of that danger part of our brain, our amygdala, and we're always wondering what's coming, what's next, what problem can I create, what might happen that I don't want to happen. So our mind just goes in these constant loops of rushing towards what we want, rushing away from what we don't want, rather than just allowing experience to be where it is. One more time. So let's just take a little bit of stillness, hands by the side of the body. Just noticing through the simplicity of that form, how powerful it is just to, even for 5 minutes, maybe we did then, just to allow all our actions to be in sync with our breath. Hopefully monkey mind hasn't wandered too far away. So as you come into stillness, you might just let yourself know, I have arrived, or this is my goal. To be here, to be present, to notice a little more. Maybe to listen a little deeper, be a little more attentive. All right, we are going to do more than one form today. So let's bring our elbows in by the side of the body. So this is one of my favorite ones. It's called Repulse the Monkey. It's the 5th form in the sequence. And I'll just get Emily to start, and then we'll talk through it. So hand just a little bit down here. Inhaling, and then exhaling. Now you can choose to have this pause in your breath at the end. So you're pausing here, And then you're inhaling once you start to turn, and then exhaling. So I'm going to get Emily to bring her arm a little closer. So you bend the elbow here and you push right past the ear. See if you can really get close. You don't have to brush your ear, but get really close. So we're inhaling and then we bend. So all the way back and then bend in. Take your time. And then push past the ear and palm pressing down. So the reason for palm pressing down rather than up is when this is all about teaching ourselves to defend ourselves from energy. So if your palm is up and someone comes in, they can bend it back. You can be blown over. But if you have your palm tilting down a little bit, there's that sense of energy moving down. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself from things coming in. And you're creating more of a strong movement. Whereas if you have your hand up, you can lean back. So eyes follow the fingers, elbow bends, comes right past the ear. And you might pause here. And then you inhale as you take your attention to the other side, you bend the elbow, press past the ear. So as I'm sure you all know by now, the monkey is our mind telling us what we need, what we want. I will only be happy if I have this one thing. Why can't I have it? That is the nature of our mind, always to be running towards pleasure, rushing away from things that are uncomfortable or not too fun. So we can't control our mind. We're not ever trying to control our thoughts. We're just trying to, I guess, direct it. So we direct the energy back into the body, not telling us our thoughts are good or bad or silly or inappropriate. Just taking that energy that's in our mind, our busy mind, and just pushing it out, coming back to our breath. Every single Qigong form is a moving meditation, just an opportunity to just be in your breath, to help yourself become a little more present, not so lost in the thoughts. So it's almost this symbolic sense of just pushing the restless energy of our thoughts out of the mind. You might remember that scientists have worked out that we have 65,000 thoughts every day. And we often only breathe 25,000 times. So we think 2 to 3 times a thought per breath. It's kind of terrifying, really. How do we create a little more space, a little more calm, a little more stillness? All right, let's come back to our Wooji stance, our stance of no specific thing. You might like to just scan through the body. Just take your attention wherever it's calling. It might be the feeling of your tongue resting on the roof of your mouth. It might be your toes pressing into the floor. It might be the back of your neck, extending it along, that crown of the head lifting up, shoulders sinking down, chest open. And you can always listen to my cues, or even better, you can just take your attention to any part of your body that's feeling discomfort or stress or tension. Just notice where that is. And when you take your next breath, focus your attention on that part of the body and just allow that new oxygenated blood to travel down to that part of your body. Wherever we take our attention, the energy in our body follows. Everything in our body is connected. So just notice this power we have to always take our attention wherever we like. So we can focus on the discomfort or we can focus on the ease. So just find a part of your body. It might be the tip of your little finger, any part of your body you like. Just bring your attention there and just notice what it feels like to just take one breath. Before your next thought inevitably comes in. All right, let's do the cloudy hands by the lake. Possibly my favorite of all the moving meditations, this idea of stillness. So we want right hand in front of the heart and elbow heavy, shoulder heavy, and then left hand a little bit turned in towards the body because you're protecting the energy of the body, but also facing down, you're connecting with the stability of the earth. And then the idea is not that we move in sync with our breath. The idea is that we just move in stillness. So I'll get Emily to just start. And you want your eyes to be on the hand. So have your hand far enough out that you can keep your eye-hand connection. So it's your eye connecting to your hand, connecting to your heart. Heart is the most important of our organs for one reason and one reason only, which is that it keeps us alive. If our heart stops beating, then by the very definition of life, we are no longer alive. So Chinese wisdom also believes, or Chinese knowledge believes that we hold wisdom in our heart, not in our mind, not in our intellect. So when our heart is still, when our heart is just doing what it does, then we might feel at ease, feel a sense of joy or contentment or love or happiness. And when our heart is not quite in balance, or our fire element is not in balance, we feel scattered, or we might not be able to sleep, or we feel like things are not going well for us. As we all know, we can't force stillness. So we keep our eye focused on our hand. We keep our hand in front of our heart. We keep moving. The nature of all of life is that we have to keep moving. And then we just shift from right hand to left hand. Once our spine has twisted as far as our range of movement allows, we don't want to bring any stress into the body. So just twist as far as your body will allow. And then effortlessly just transitioning from one hand to the other, flowing, moving, just like the river. Every thought, every emotion just flowing down. And just like when we were doing our meditation before, we're not holding on to those thoughts, holding on to those emotions. We're just letting them pass by, knowing that inevitably we won't remember this thought in 15 minutes or one day or 10 years. We won't remember this emotion. Everything passes. With your lower hand, and we just turn just a little bit in. So it's like you're like taking it along the river, just feeling like you're in a canoe and your just hand is gliding on the water. So you're connecting with the water, but you're also connecting with your lower dantian, this part of our body. So as we sweep from side to side, just feel like your hand might be rolling along the top of the water effortlessly, just getting a sense for what it is. So this is the cloudy hands by the lake, fire element form. All right, let's come back to stillness. Allow our arms to be heavy by the side of the body. You might like to just invite that tiny smile to the edges of the mouth. We might do the 15th form now. I think it's called something like the Wild Goose. I always forget what this one's called, but something to do with geese or flying. So we'll take our feet under the knees and just allow our whole body to be stacked as always. And just bring all your attention to your feet. Every time in life you need to do a balance. We tend to always be in our head thinking maybe I'll fall over or maybe something bad will happen, but best way is always to obviously connect with the ground. So we start just by allowing our arms to effortlessly float up and then sinking down. So when you sink down, your knees might bend just a little, and then when you lift up, you might feel your heel come up. Now, the first few times you do this, maybe the heels stay on the ground. But as you effortlessly bring the arms up, moving with the breath, feeling light, you might feel the heels just raise off the ground, maybe just 1 millimeter. And just keep moving in your breath. And just like when we were raising the hands at the front, just keep going, Emma. And we're not doing this, we're keeping our wrists connected to the arm, just like you see a bird in flight. Got an itchy head. So when you raise up your light and when you sink down, you're heavy. Now, there's no right or wrong amount to come off the ground. Your heels might stay connected to the ground the whole time, but your body is still lifting and sinking. So many parts of our body that are fluid. We feel like they're heavy and set, but you may remember we're 70% water, 70% fluid. And this fluid is right through our body, through our fascia, our connective tissue, wraps all around our skeleton. And all those messages that travel from our head to our heart, to our gut, constantly moving through our nervous system, they all travel through fluid. I'm not even sure what geese look like when they fly.
Just like this.
Just like this, okay. So you might just take your attention to this lightness lifting up, heaviness sinking down. Every time we lift our arms, we move with our breath. Every one of these 18 forms, just a moving meditation. Opportunity to be here in this moment. All right, let's come back to stillness. We might have time just to do one more. Have you got a favorite Shibashi form, Emily?
I don't know. Maybe like a bounce the ball.
All right, bounce the ball. People quite often do this one a little bit differently, but my favorite way that I've seen it done is we lift up, so we're rotating at our through our thoracic spine, so not our hips, right? So quite often in life we rotate with this, but if we rotate here, we put pressure on our knees, which is not so good. So a lot of Qigong is about getting us to rotate our spine in through our spine. So our hips don't move so much and our shoulders and spine moves. So you might just like to have a little practice at that. And just notice, if you feel your knees moving underneath, that means you're using your lower body. And if you twist through your mid-spine, your knees shouldn't move too much. They should stay heavy. So bounce the ball is just at the end of, we've done 16 forms and we're near the end of the sequence. Bounce the ball is just about getting ourselves moving again. And we don't have to do this one in sync with the breath. Most of the others are all in sync with the breath, but the cloudy hands one isn't, and this one isn't. So we're turning. So you'll notice before I do anything with my arms, I'm turning my shoulders, and we're lifting a knee and a hand, and then taking it down. And then I'm turning again and lifting the opposite knee and hand. So if you're twisting at your hips, you'll feel some pressure on your knees, and that's what you don't want. So your standing leg stays heavy. You twist through your spine, so your whole body is turning, and you lift and then come down. This leg then locks down, and you turn your shoulders, and the opposite knee comes up. So just have a little practice of that sense of turning through the upper body, not the hips. Can take a little bit of time. I've seen when I've taught live classes with this, sometimes people just, every time they twist their hips like they're doing the twist dance or whatever. But yeah, just this thoracic spine. So a good rule with Qigong is always, whenever you're twisting, is your neck in line with the chest. So if your hand is here, your hand is guiding. So you're always moving with your whole body, head, neck, and shoulders, chest together. The lower body is mostly staying still. So let's just have a go at this bouncing ball, and just start, Emily, and we'll talk through it. So yeah, not in sync with the breath, just moving. And you don't have to, you can lift your knee a lot or a little. Everyone seems to do it a little bit different from all the people I've seen do it in China. You can feel a little bit like you're a puppet or a little bit like you're actually bouncing a ball. Just, again, your hand is kind of heavy rather than floppy. Just notice if you're holding any tension in your neck or your jaw. You want to feel that sense of flow. So sure.
It's opposite leg to arm, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, let's come back to stillness. So we might as well finish today with the final form of Shibashi, which is just taking our weight in the back of the body. So we bend the knees, but our weight is in the heels. And then we scoot down. Now you might touch the ground, you might not, doesn't matter, right? Your range of motion is what it is. You draw energy into the body, and then you sigh out and store it in our dantian, the center of gravity in the body. So pressing through the toes the whole way. Inhale. And exhale. Now, most important thing, just keep going with this one, is you're not bending down this way. You're dropping your weight down. So you might only come this far. Like however far you have is fine. You're still gathering up the energy of the earth. Your back stays straight. So if you feel your shoulders reaching forward and you're curling your back into that C shape, just don't do that. Keep your weight in your heels. Gather up that earth energy. Store it in the body, side out. So we're moving back towards stability. This is an earth element form for our stomach and spleen meridians. So we want to have that sense of gathering in stability, dependability, reliability, all those abilities, and bringing them into the body. In this part of our body is where we have our intention. And when out of balance, we can feel worry and anxiety. We can endlessly be catastrophizing, thinking what might happen. When our earth element is out of balance. So as you bring your hands down, just sink down. Inviting in energy one more time. Nice. Let's draw one hand over the other. Just this sense of just holding that new energy, new learning, new openness. Our shoulders stay heavy. Just one last time, maybe inviting back that tiny hint of a smile. Let's finish today's practice, same as we started, taking our arms down by the side of the body. Take a breath in, lifting up, reaching up. And then sighing out, sinking down. At the end of practice, I always like to lift up light, just like we did with the goose. And sink down. And then one more, lifting as light as a feather. And then letting go. Let's bring our palms together at heart center. You might like to just rest the knuckles of the thumb on the middle of the chest. Palm presses into palm. Take a moment in gratitude for the wisdom of Qigong, thousands and thousands of years, so many generations of people moving towards ease and balance and well-being, and just sharing the secrets of how to live in balance. Let's bow to each other and just thanking for a shared energy of practice today.